President Bola Tinubu in Berlin, Germany assured international investors that Nigeria is a secure destination for their investments. Tinubu gave the reassurance on Monday while speaking as a participant in a panel discussion on fostering local value chains and investments in Africa at the 4th G20 Investment Summit. President Tinubu highlighted Nigeria's stable democracy since 1999 and the ongoing economic reforms, making a compelling case for it as a prime business destination. In the global landscape of trade and investment, he said Nigeria stands at a crucial crossroad, ready to seize new opportunities and forge stronger business ties with Europe. He made a resounding declaration: Nigeria is open for business.
We featured in several fora that Nigeria is open for business. It's a transformative Nigeria. We have had consecutive democratic elections since 1999. And from there, we have been able to change from one government to the other, and that's it, basically, one particular party to another. Nigeria is a stable democracy. Since I took over in May this year, we've been back on transformative changes. All obstacles hindering our businesses to very remote. We are reforming the economy based on the principle and philosophy of good governance. For us in Nigeria, we have the largest population in Africa and the biggest economy and biggest population.
Earlier this week, we caught up Funmi Ajala, a Nigerian political analyst based in Germany. He said Nigeria has yet to fully tap into the opportunities presented by the conflict in Ukraine. Funmi highlighted that Nigeria's biggest trade partner within the European market is Spain, not Germany. He asked, why are we not doing business with Germany?
The Nigerian government should focus more on expanding its business horizon across the Eurozone. Germany and France are the two biggest economies in the Eurozone, but they are not our top trade partners. As a matter of fact, we export and import more from Spain, which is not among the top two economies. We've seen German Chancellor Olaf Scholz in Abuja and Lagos, and also we've seen that since the French were booted out of Niger Republic, they've been trying to cut other African countries, especially Nigeria. These two countries need a lot of gas supply to keep firing their industries. Nigeria could key into this and make sure that we gain much more. We've seen how Russia has been able to politicize its gas supply to the Eurozone, because members of the Eurozone are in support of Ukraine in the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. And so these countries, these top Eurozone countries, especially Germany and France, they are looking at the possibility of seeing where else they could turn their faces to be able to steady the supply of gas into their industries. Nigeria need to be serious about this, and I think we can also look at the possibility of expanding other aspects of our economy. The agri sector, we can supply a lot of things to the Eurozone, and I think it's far more is much more easier than for us to dissipate so much energy into an exercise that will probably yield not so much.
President Tinubu also emphasized opportunities in public sectors such as energy digitalization, telecommunications, and agriculture. With the support of strategic partnerships, Nigeria can leverage its resources, expertise, and growing economy to foster a dynamic business environment.
Problem happening now. See, this is what I'm saying. We should all come together. Even you as a journalist should look beyond the election. People are dying of hunger. election. What happens in the next election? I've said this publicly. Peter Obi is not desperate to be Nigerian president and desperate to see Nigeria work. Your children are suffering. So don't ask me that type of question, please. I'm begging you. Let's talk about how to save the country. If the country is working, I mustn't be president. Let the country work for our future. Okay, I want the children of here to be looked after. I'm talking about coming together for good governance and making sure that the people are well governed and well served. That's two different things. When it is for election purpose, it is self benefiting or transactional. But if it is for good governance, we can all come together and work together. And if you look at what President Obasanjo is talking about, I don't think he's talking against saying that democracy is not what we should adopt. No, he's talking about the applicability. Democracy as it's being practiced in the Western world does not have universal acceptability and applicability. You have to look at what suits you. For example, if you look at democracy in America, where we even copied this presidential system of government, there's so many things that we've abandoned. If you today you're president of America, you can't just, I've never heard in America that they bought vehicles for legislators. You can't just buy cars anyhow. I have never heard you can't buy cars for first lady anyhow. Yes, there's no, in fact in America there's no office called Office of First Lady. It exists in name. And for the purpose of accompanying the president to trips. Not just to have an office created with enormous budgets that are even beyond critical areas of development. No. You cannot entertain people. In America, if the president chooses today to entertain guests, you pay for the food. If he chooses to have different dishes, he'll pay for it. So he can decide how my wife is going to have we're going to have this type of fish from Japan. At the end of the month, you have to pay for it. So these things don't happen. You don't have renovations of different houses for the president. If the president of America goes to New York today, he stays in hotel. I have accompanied the president to trip in the past. The hotel is the president of America was staying in a hotel. So these are issues. So we must look at what suits us. Again, look at how we can manage our own expense and everything. So what Obasanjo is saying that we must not adopt this and even adopt it wrongly as we are doing it today. The last one was an issue of move on. How can we salvage that? That is the disaster. And it can be salvaged again by the same everybody coming together. Not just now political parties, but civil society. The people must resist that because it's dangerous.
I reflect very seriously and quietly in my own time to behave myself. For those 8 years, nobody can say I built a house. Nobody can say I invested in any company. Nobody can prove a case against me. So I am now happily sitting here in my village.
representing Bayelsa East Senator yesterday. I so second. Thank you, Mr. President.
So many citizens no longer sleep in their homes. They run into town and go back during the day. So there's something very, very serious going on in around the Federal Capital Territory. No matter what we say, this is the capital territory of Nigeria. If there's anywhere that's going to be seen as very secure, this ought to be the most secure place in Nigeria. Now that it seems that the same lackadaisical attitude to security is being taken to, all of us are at risk. Now, an aide to a senator, tomorrow it might be an aide to a minister. It might also be one of us, God forbid. But the point is, something very, very drastic and immediate must be done by the security agencies to handle this matter.
Time for us to revisit that issue of 500 million naira worth of contract for the installation of CCTV camera in FCT. We have to make the contractor to account for that huge sums of money. The citizens are left without security. The money has gone down the drain, and nobody is talking about it. I'm happy that Senator Monir has brought out this motion. We should support it, and in mandating the committee that will do the investigation, they must thoroughly investigate that contract award. Mr. President, FCT is home for everybody. That's why everybody is now coming into FCT to stay because of relative security compared to other places in the 36 states of the Federation. This is the seat of government. This is where the diplomats are staying. It is embarrassing. It's a national shame and disgrace for us to have this kind of thing. So the security agent must be up to task, and we must ginger them to do the needful.
The recent abduction of 19 individuals, yes, 19, including my senior legislative aide, Barrister Chris Agidi, in the Galadima neighborhood, Abuja, exemplifies the gravity of the situation. Despite swift engagement with law enforcement agencies, tragically, according to security forces, out of the 19 abducted, 12 lives have been lost, and 7 individuals are still being held captive in a forested area spanning approximately 100 kilometers. Deeply worried that the failure to urgently address the kidnapping crisis in Nigeria, especially in FCT, could result in social unrest, loss of confidence in governance, humanitarian toll, economic decline, increased insecurity, and potential international implications, all of which could profoundly impact the nation's stability, prosperity, and international standing.
I've seen about 41 signatories here, saying that they have a temporary replacement for the minority leader of the Senate. And this is a resolution of the minorities in favor of Senator Abba Moro. And having seen that he has about 41 signatories to his credit as minority leader of the Senate, I therefore have the privilege to announce that the senior Senator Abba Moro be moved forward as a minority leader of the Senate.
At the minority meeting, we are just coming out. Abba Moro was endorsed, and we said that the position of minority whip will have to schedule another meeting because he has to shade equitably. There is no way we have 4 seats for minorities in this Senate, and a PDP will take 3 of the seats. The next party is Labour Party with 7 senators, and we get nothing. That is unfair, that is unjust, that is inequitable, and is against the spirit of the Nigerian Constitution.
Are we your slaves? The way you elected was the way you were elected. Are we your slaves? How else you can suspend me here? Are we your slaves? Every time you keep on picking leadership for us. We are not your slaves. Whether you like it or not, the way you elected was the way we elected. We are not your slaves.
It's unfair.
I must say that that is the PDP. If you were talking about the APC, I'm sure they would have been fair, they would have been equitable. So I mean, so the Senate will always listen to opinions of members and our colleagues. We will always be sensitive to it. At the same time, next time you bring anything to us to announce, make sure that you have put your house in order. I just want to plead with my colleagues to understand that my job here is not to take individual opinions or to work on the basis of what is convenient to you, but to work on the basis of truth. So this issue of minority leader or minority whip is for now rested until you produce an alternative paper in future.
In Nigeria, a silent epidemic claims the lives of thousands each year. Startling statistics reveal a grim reality. A staggering annual death toll of 41,693 from road traffic accidents. This shocking figure, jointly compiled by the Federal Road Safety Corps, World Bank and the World Health Organization, paints a haunting picture of a nation in the grips of an escalating crisis. Despite the tireless efforts of government interventionist agencies, particularly the FRC, tasked with mitigating the scourge of road crashes, the numbers continue to climb. For 6 consecutive years, rising accidents have left communities devastated and families shattered.
Victims. I would say there are different factors to it. I feel like the reason why most people would are involved in that in the first place is either it's psychological or it is physical, or it has to be this too. Because when you're saying it's psychological, it means it has to do with your mind. That's true. Right? So your mental health and your physical health are both very important. So say, for example, someone is sad, someone is depressed, for example, right? And the same person that is depressed is driving. Remember that because the person is depressed, depending on the severity of that depression, the person might not be in the right sense of mind to make the right decisions. Right decision would be you watching who is is the traffic saying traffic light saying I should go, right? Is there someone by my left, or can I just, take the next turn and all that? People don't put all these things into cognizance and just go ahead and just, take the decision, and then at the end of the day, it will end up in a deadly accident. Sometimes people end up dying, while sometimes, hospitalized with severe injuries.
Since the adoption of November 19th as the World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims, pursuant to General Assembly resolution, the observance has spread to a growing number of countries on every continent. The day has become an important tool in global efforts to reduce road casualties. It offers an opportunity for drawing attention to the scale of emotional and economic devastation caused by road crashes, and for giving recognition to the suffering of road crash victims and the work of support and rescue services. One of the major factors contributing to these tragedies is the prevalent use of substance abuse while driving. From alcohol to illicit drugs, impaired driving puts countless lives at risk on Nigerian roads, turning vehicles into potential weapons of destruction. But it's not just substance abuse that plagues Nigerian roads. The very infrastructure meant to ensure safe passage become a contributing factor to accidents. Inadequate road maintenance, lack of clear signage, and the absence of proper markings create a hazardous environment for motorists and pedestrians alike.
Drivers should be tested. There should be a way or a rule or regulations or whatever it is that drivers need to be tested to be sure that, okay, you're not using any form of substance. If it's going to be at the point where you're given license, your driver license, please, it should be. If it's going to be at a point where maybe you're in traffic, whatever it is they need to do, they should just put policies on ground that, test for substance abuse, that also test for people's mental health. I know in other countries, if you beat traffic light, for example, it's not just substance they test for. They do normal psychological evaluation. Yeah, because they need to know if you're okay or not, right? I wish it's something that we can, take on in this part of the country. I think it will reduce, the number of crashes, because it's quite a lot. I'm seeing that 1.35 million lives are cut short and 50 million more suffer life-changing injuries because of road accidents.
As the nation grapples with this harrowing reality, a cross-section of Nigerians are calling for urgent action to address this crisis. From improved road infrastructure to stricter enforcement of laws, the path of safer roads lies in the hands of all stakeholders.
The civilized countries, they fix what they call speed limit. If any driver go above a certain limit, he's fined or he's restricted for like 3 months, 6 months, depending on the country. So government can go a long way by imposing compulsory speed limit in any vehicle, and can be monitored from either road safety office, police office. Once you are going in a particular place and you run above the speed limit, then they should consider the attitude of the driver. These days, you see people selling alcohol in a motor garage. The driver should be tested whether he has alcoholic content before embarking on the journey.
But on road safety, well, it is proper for our children. They want to, beyond being a vehicle, they want to cross the road. They have to be watchful. That's part of safety education. And when, the kids, I think it will go a long way to sensitize them when they are in their parents' or commercial vehicle, that they shouldn't just suddenly open the door, which can lead to accidents. Other measures as well. So road safety and safety education should be included in school curriculum.
Some men are naturally weak or shy or have this ego that this thing cannot happen because it's coming from a man. But some women are physically strong. And I can tell you this from a fact. I know of a woman. I grew up in the military barracks, so I understand the scenario. I've seen women beat their men physically. Some of them are God-gifted. Their testosterone is very strong and they can beat their men. But the men don't come out, and sometimes because of the stigmatization, instead of other men understand that it is a challenge that requires help, but they mock them and they make fun of them. And as a result of that, most men keep quiet when such things happen.
Honestly speaking, he narrated everything from A to Z, you understand. But to cut this story short, I know that the fault is from him. He's cheating on her, so she realized, then the battle comes start, you understand. So I'm the one who can intervene. But now they are living in peacefully life.
In a recent quarterly report released by the Lagos Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency, BSVA, a shocking revelation has come to light, exposing a lesser-known aspect of domestic violence: men as victims. The report has brought forward 340 cases of husbands enduring physical abuse at the hands of their wives between September 2022 and July 2023. This report aims to delve into the harsh reality of men suffering from domestic violence, shedding light on the societal factors that contribute to their silence and addressing the toxic masculinity that perpetuates this silence.
The data from the state government recently that talks about the number of reported cases, I want to believe that may not be a true representation of the facts, because there may be a lot of cases of domestic violence that have gone unreported, unnoticed.
It's a common thing in Africa. We have shied away about the fact that such things happen because of the mentality of an African man. The mentality we grow up, we have to be the warrior, the stronger ones. But for facts, such things happen. In fact, I want to believe any statistic you can give, but I think 60% of the men will never come out to speak. So if you have a result, probably 40%.
Violence also affects men, and I've seen a lot of violent acts that have affected men. Emotional abuse, physical abuse. Yes, physical abuse. It's just that a lot of them do not want to report those cases.
In our society, men are under pressure to maintain a tough exterior and suppress any signs of vulnerability or victimhood. This fear is further compounded by the notion that men should silently bear their problems without uttering a word of complaint. Societal expectations dictate that men must be strong and unyielding, conforming to traditional ideals of masculinity. However, breaking free from this cycle of silence requires understanding and challenging these deeply ingrained expectations. It is about creating an environment where men can freely express their emotions without the fear of jeopardizing their perceived tough image.
Women used to, how will I put it, used to bring their problems out and share it with their friends, you understand, whereby hardly a man to see that he involve himself with his friend, say that, see what is going on. Until the thing reach a certain level that he will come out, say, I can't do otherwise, so see, somebody will come and intervene.
And you see, sometimes that is why you see men will just slump and die, sometimes because the emotional damage that is being caused from the other gender is so enormous that, in fact, you need a special therapy to bring it out. If not, it's happening at a high level, and that men have been shying away from it.
It's not snitching, it's reporting, because I've noticed that a lot of people do not want to report these cases because they will say, you're a man, your wife beat you, it's a shameful thing and all of that. But it's important that you report this case. You are also a human being. As a man, you're a human being. So whatever goes on and you don't feel comfortable about it, instead of you fighting back, because at the end of the day, when you fight back, it becomes something else. So it's important that you report to the judiciaries, let them punish the person according to the law. So it's not snitching, it's reporting. You're doing it for yourself and to preserve your life.
Efforts to address domestic violence against men necessitate a comprehensive and multifaceted approach. This includes launching awareness campaigns designed to dispel stereotypes, fostering open and honest dialogues about the experiences of male victims, and establishing safe and supportive spaces where they can seek assistance without judgment. By dismantling the barriers that prevent men from seeking help, we can begin to make a significant impact in combating domestic violence and ensuring that no one, regardless of gender, suffers in silence.
You must be a man to be a man. You know, so when you are mature, both the spirit and the physical, there's no need to retaliate fighting with your wife. There's many ways you can handle it. The one that you cannot handle, call elders or to your church where you belong. Solve it to amicable. I don't believe in violence anyway.
One of those things that can make anybody encouraged to come out to speak about things, if at the end they get justice for those that have come out, if they get justice for those actions, you see them coming out so that they want justice.
But the reason why we advocate for women a lot is because the prevalence of this violence against women is high. So that's the reason why most times we advocate for women.
As we go, I said that the motor, they say not be the motor. I said to where, maybe I liberty. And I said this motor, they come outside.
Tax waivers are given to you when you are initially taking up. And once you take up, maybe 2 years, 3 years is enough. So can we perpetually continue to give tax waivers in the name of tax waivers, and then you are bringing finished items into the country, then killing our manufacturing industry? So these are the reasons. I think it's a very good thing. By today, Nigeria, we shouldn't be talking or thinking about waivers. If we are going to give waivers, we should be giving waivers to those areas that we know is going to add value to what we're doing. If we are not producing, example, if we are not producing any byproducts that will make us to produce fertilizer, and you are bringing it to this country and you say, oh, let's give tax waivers, the multiplier effect of that one is that we will have fertilizers, our blending plants will be working, and our farmers will be going to the farm, they will produce, and at the end of the day, the items they will produce, those manufacturing plants that initially got the waivers will be able to take this as raw materials, produce what they will produce as finished goods, and we make more money from that. The manufacturer also will make more money from that. The ordinary woman on the street selling stuff will be able to get these items and she will sell. The multiplier effect will continue to go in multiples. But what we have today is a limited cartel of Nigerians taking waivers and not giving Nigeria back what it deserves. So we are taking the bull by the horn to make sure that things are changed. Because before you give waiver, there are conditions that comes with that waiver. It's either we are talking about backward integration, whereby you want to come in with certain things in order to stabilize yourself, to be able to pick up, and then if you are in production, to start producing. And when you start that, you'll be able to generate a lot of employment for Nigerians. You also, at the end of the day, the multiplier effect of that will be extended to Nigerians. But we realize that most of these waivers, the people that were benefiting from it, have continued benefiting from these waivers year in, year out. And normally there is a time limit for a waiver. If you look at the sugar industry today, if nothing is done, if we continue to allow what is going on at the moment, in the next 2 years, you will see what will happen to that industry. And it's worldwide. So we feel if we cannot add value to what we are doing here based on the commitment you have taken, an agreement that you have reached to be able to be given this waiver, why must we continue to give these waivers? Custom told us we've lost close to 1.3 trillion. 1.3 trillion, if you look at it to a deficit of 11 trillion, it's something. And now in 2023, our deficit is gradually coming down for the fact that the oil subsidy has been removed. We'll be able to generate more money. And when we go to 2024, we are envisaging that the deficit will come down to about 9 trillion. So if out of 9 trillion and we're looking at giving waivers of 2-point-something trillion, does it make sense to us? So we felt as a Senate that, you can see it has been approved by the Senate, that all waivers should be removed. Especially for those that have told us they are going to bring in machinery to set up industries that will create employment, and we don't see those industries. All we see, instead of bringing those machinery or raw materials, we see that they are bringing finished products and then killing our local manufacturers.
And without waiting for you to ask, Excellency, why would an oil-producing country be importing petroleum products? This is unfortunate, avoidable, but it's not a helpless situation. What we are doing today is to start what the Port Harcourt and Warri refinery. First starting the Port Harcourt refinery, we are very, very sure, and of course, post-major bearing, and I do not anticipate this, our planning is excellent. We will start the Port Harcourt refinery in December. And definitely the Warri refinery in the first quarter, but we cannot say the same thing about Kaduna. Our plan is to start it by the end of 2024. And this perhaps will be complemented, or we will complement the expected startup of a number of small-scale refineries that, yes, will add value, but clearly perhaps not cover the gap that we are seeing in supply. And with the startup of the Dangote refinery, we know that in 2024, and we are very convinced with all the planning that is on ground, that this country will definitely be a net exporter of petroleum products in 2024.
I am very excited with the narration that you just gave to us. It's part of the renewed hope. Nigerians want to hear good news, and then you came with a lot of them. I'm sure a lot of headlines have been created from most of the things you were saying. And the smallest one that may look ordinary, but it affects the Nigerian economy, is the fact that no more fuel queues. That in the next 3 months or thereabout, that you have made adequate arrangement to ensure that Nigerians can drive into the filling station and purchase their fuel or diesel and go back home without hassles and without sleeping there during this Christmas season. So we want to congratulate you for looking forward. And of course, that initiative is good.
This is the motion brought for state burial and immortalization of late Taiwo Akinkumi, OFR, popularly called Mr. Flag Designer of the Nigeria flag. Immortalizing him, therefore, and granting him a state burial is a demonstration of the respect and honor that Nigeria accords our heroes, living or late.
Honor those who have sacrificed, those who have contributed to our nationhood. Most of such persons might not be known to younger generations, but with their demise, we should be able to bring their contributions to fore so that the society, the younger generations, will reflect and know what they have done to our nation. Mr. President, I so contribute.
Mourn the loss of Mr. Taiwo Akinkumi and express the Senate's condolences to his family and loved ones. The Senate recognizes his exceptional and patriotic service to our country through his design of the Nigerian national flag. Those who are in support of prayer to say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
We spend time talking about skilling our youths. When we skill them, where will they work? If we are importing toothpick, because we don't have enough toothpick producer at home, we allow people to import toothpick. We are importing all sorts of things that this country don't need. We have basically become a dumping ground for all sorts of things. So, Mr. President, I believe until we challenge ourselves, just in the manner that you said before, that we can challenge ourselves to do everything to stabilize the Naira, not just by supply, but also reducing unnecessary demand that we can produce at home.
The Nigerian Senate has called for a ban on the importation of locally produced items and recommended a review of laws governing revenue-generating agencies to address arbitrary expenditures. The Senate also urged the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation Limited, NNPCL, to reduce production costs to boost government revenue and proposed amendments to enhance fiscal responsibility enforcement.
All we want is how do we make NNPC to reduce its production cost? As said by Senate President Emeritus Ahmed Lawan, at one time, production cost per barrel used to be $20. And now NNPC has worked and brought it down to about $15 per barrel. And according to what Mele Kari, the GM of the NNPC, said, they are working towards reducing it by about $10 per barrel. So all we need to say is that NNPC should continue to reduce its production cost. Simple.
So I think what we need to do is for our oil and gas related committees to really engage with the NNPC and whoever is involved as an operator to know how we can do that. It's very sensitive. And I will not advise that we simply say they should go and reduce. We should find a way of making it possible for engagement to know exactly what can be done. But if we say we just fait accompli, we should just say go and reduce it. How do we know? So I advise that we should be very careful.
To all our colleagues, chairman of committees that overseeing these agencies of the government, to please let us pay so much attention. Whenever they appear before you, it's what is the status of your revenue. We want to see. And how much are you allowed by law to spend out of this money? For agencies that are exceeding or not following the law, they can be brought before the National Assembly to come and explain why they have to take more than what is expected of them in every financial year. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, another area I want us to please, as the chairman has said, in the area of waivers. In 2024 alone, they have provided for 2.7 trillion waivers. Who are the beneficiaries of these waivers? What did they tend to achieve? How are they adding value to the economy? And why are they granted these waivers? And this is one area I believe
is of interest and utmost importance to us as a Senate if the economic agenda of this current administration must be met.
Additionally, a medium-term expenditure framework for 2024 to 2026, including a borrowing plan of 7.8 trillion naira, a 9 trillion naira deficit, and a total expenditure of 26 trillion naira, has also been approved. The upper chamber set benchmark oil prices of $73.96, $73.76, and $69.90 per barrel for 2024, 2025, and 2026 respectively.
The macroeconomic projection of the medium-term fiscal framework and the major key parameters, as well as other macroeconomic projections driving the proposed 2024 to 2026 medium-term macroeconomic, you will look at it at the report on page 29. The summary is given there. The revenue expenditure framework upon which the 2024 Federal Government of Nigeria budget will be predicated is as follows. 1. Daily crude oil production will be 1.78 million barrels per day. 2. Benchmark oil price will be USD 73.96 per barrel. Exchange rate will be $700 naira per dollar. Gross domestic product growth rate will be 3.76%. Inflation growth rate will be 21.40%. Federal Government of Nigeria retained revenue will be 16.9 trillion naira. Total federal government proposed expenditure will be 26 trillion naira. Physical deficit will be 9 trillion for GOEs. New borrowings will be 7.8 trillion naira, including foreign and domestic borrowing.
For a 3-year period, the benchmark price of USD 73.76, that is for 2024, 69.90 for 2025, for 2026, and 73.76 for 2025 be approved respectively. Those in support of this recommendation say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Recommendation 2, that the daily crude oil production of 1.78 million barrels per day, 1.80 million barrels per day, and 1.81 million barrels per day for 2024, 2025, and 2026 respectively be approved, subject to NNPCL's confirmation of actual and verifiable deliveries.
We are committed to a police force that will respond adequately and appropriately to the dynamics of crimes and criminalities in our communities. Provision of logistics is very poor in the police. We have 1,537 police divisional headquarters across 774 local governments in Nigeria. But getting vehicles, operational vehicles, for the division is difficult. Each of these divisions requires at least 4 functional patrol vehicles. But we have divisions who don't have any functional patrol vehicle as of today.
Sadly, there is no corresponding increase in accommodation facility to cater for the basic human need for the personnel of our terms of shelter. Why is most of the troops are deployed out? By the time we start reducing the strength on ground, going back to the barracks becomes a problem because there won't be enough accommodation. This development therefore poses some negative effects on the morale and fighting efficiency of the troops. This situation will also require your intervention so as to ameliorate the challenges. Issue of funding for the operational purposes. The need for adequate funding of the armed forces to overcome the issues of combat supplies such as ration for the troops, petroleum, oil and lubricant, equipment and maintenance through the procurement of spare parts and similar others in these categories are necessary. To this end, there is the need for National Assembly to facilitate the continuous release of funds for the armed forces and the police for the purpose of overcoming the issues of combat enablers and combat suppliers, which are recurrent in nature but very necessary for sustenance of the troops.
It is about partnership, what we have between us and the federal government. We've been on this for a very, very long time. It is to do with three things: health, education, and jobs. And I think Professor Fati, Honorable Minister of Health and Coordinating Minister, we started with him right from the beginning. He was the person that actually championed the elimination of this polio, right even from the beginning. We started with him. He brought us together, Aliko Dangote Foundation, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. The first time that we signed agreement with Kano State, and then we started signing with other states. So our own, as philanthropist, is for us to partner with the government and make sure that, yes, they do what is right, and also to put our money on the table, and we are ready to do so.
Meeting with the Vice President was convened to bring all critical stakeholders together for human capital development in Nigeria. You know, we have a lot of young ones, and every year about 3 million young people enter the job market. We need to think about these young people. We need to think about our future as a country. We need to prioritize our young ones. We need to develop them. We need to give them economic hope and opportunities so that we can collectively develop and then say no to extremism and yes to prosperity. I am happy that this is happening under this government, and I'm happy that the Vice President convened all of us to support this initiative.
The government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is very keen to ensure we harness Nigeria's human capital, its population, so that they are of high quality to drive economic growth and will benefit the private sector as well as the public sector. So all of us have vested interest in that. His Excellency the Vice President convened this meeting to discuss how government, within the overall vision of the Renewed Hope agenda, can come together with state governments, partnering with the federal government, with private sector leaders, and we're fortunate that we have among the wealthiest, we have the wealthiest Nigerians and Africans that are here. How do we work with them alongside our external development partners to ensure that we invest properly in health, in basic health care, the sector-wide program to improve population health outcomes, improve nutrition of our young children, empower our women, our girls, but also on the education side to deal with the issues of quality of education.
The operations of the week in focus resulted in 99 neutralized terrorists, while 198 of them were arrested. Troops also arrested 49 perpetrators of oil theft and rescued 139 kidnapped hostages. In the South-South, troops denied the oil theft of the estimated sum of over 1 billion naira. Furthermore, troops recovered 141 assorted weapons and over 1,400 assorted ammunition, the breakdown of which is as follows: 1 General Purpose machine gun, 1 GT3 rifle, 49 AK-47 rifles, 2 single-barrel guns, 9 locally made pistols, 13 den guns, among other items. Troops in the Niger Delta area destroyed over 240 dugout pits, 31 boats, 69 storage tanks, 23 vehicles, and over 160 cooking ovens, among others. Additionally, troops recovered over 570,000 liters of stolen crude oil, over 450,000 liters of illegally refined AGO. Now, our preliminary investigation revealed that 2 of the arrested terrorists were bomb experts. Investigation is ongoing with regards to their activities. Similarly, on the 20th of November, troops in conjunction with hybrid forces conducted offensive operations and made contact with terrorists in Damboa local government area of Borno State. Following a firefight, troops neutralized 7 of the terrorists and recovered 5 AK-47 rifles and 100 rounds 7.62mm special ammunition. Overall, troops of Operation Hardenkai neutralized 19 terrorists, arrested 21, and rescued 8 kidnapped hostages. Troops recovered 1 general purpose machine gun, 1 G3 rifle, 40 AK-47 rifles, over 330 rounds of 7.62mm special ammo, over 100 rounds of 7.62mm NATO ammunition, among others.
We are right here at Nnamdi Azikiwe Express Road. We have just been told that 2 individuals lost their life within 24 hours. We have some cross-section of Nigerians who witnessed the incident, share their experiences with us.
What made 2 people lost their life here yesterday? Because they refused to climb the pedestrian bridge. They were crossing here, then the gate asked them. The day before yesterday, and yesterday, 1 gate asked them, the night and died. So for that, I want government to bring people that will stop people crossing for this place. Because they are complaining that the bridge is too far from them to follow. So government will help us.
People always say bad experience about this road, and I've known somebody that also died through this road also. People used to die on this Nikon Junction Road every day. So even last 2 years or so, I had an experience about this road. When I was about to cross at the middle of this road, I fell down, but thank God the Lord saved my life that day. It was October 11, 2021. I thank God because the Lord saved my life on this faithful day. So I want to advise our people to be passing this our pedestrian bridge. Though it was so stressful, because then when I was passing this road, this bridge before, but it was so stressful for me. Even you can see me this morning, I still cross this road again. The Lord help us. So it's not easy to be climbing this road, this bridge, morning and night. But to be a safer side for those, especially our old age mom and dad, we advise them that they should be passing this pedestrian bridge for their own sake.
It's because of the pedestrian bridge is too far from this way, and sometimes before you could get to that side, they go and cross and come down. So we don't decide to use the shorter way. Like we feel it's shorter, but I believe if you want to cross, you should be patient and look very well before crossing.
It's almost every week. Every week or two times in a week.
I'm afraid for hearing this, and it's so unfortunate for them. Like, I'm afraid. I think I will also take precaution. I will try to be going and to use the pedestrian regardless of the distance.
There's no any motivation, but one thing is that because of the time factor, I can even say because of the time factor that makes me to cross. Though I always have fear, and I always pray to God that I want to cross, that Lord save me this morning again. I'm here again, save me. But it's not good. I cannot encourage my people to be passing this road every day, because this road is killing people every day by day. Even the day that I had my own experience, I was told that nothing less than one hour that this road also killed a policeman that day. So I cannot be encourage people to be crossing this road. It's not encouraging. The road is killing people every day. May the Lord help us in the mighty name of Jesus. So many people have been killed through this crossing of this road. May the Lord help us.
Even though I am a senator from Kogi Central, I pretty much intend to represent every one of you and every Nigerian at large. I intend to speak on issues that are quite controversial, that many senators would shy away from, pretty much because they have one interest or the other to protect, or they would not want to offend a few people, pretty much those who sponsored them. But I, being one who has no godfather, but of course God Almighty, and I intend to have my voice pure, sincere, and honest for all Nigerians. And of course, today I was made the chairperson of the local content committee and also the vice chairperson of STEEL, which is very dear to me, and definitely a project that means a whole lot to the people of Kogi Central and Kogi State, as well as Nigerians. So I intend to use the very best of my knowledge, my academic knowledge, and my experience in my professional field, which is me being a lawyer, and of course me being a senator. So all of this I intend to sum up and bring out an output to these two committees that would impress Nigerians and leave an indelible mark in our industrialization electoral processes. Ask me questions of and of course the main products today. Cypher, but the judges were able to their elections in recent days. But as much as I think
and places, because to be honest, it's not hygienic for our health and also them that will come and use it, because we could get infection. Infection is everywhere, which it's not good. It's deadly. So first they should create awareness and make everything up.
And what government can do, they should just create more toilets for people, for passengers, most efficiently. You know, there are some people that they will leave their various homes coming to Abuja like this. Maybe they are a few pressed, you understand. Definitely they will look for a way to ease their aim or ease themselves, you understand. So government should create more toilets for people to be used.
In some other business places,
probably provision of enough trash can at every, probably let me say, should I say, a point where people can actually dispose their waste products, to actually reduce all these smells around. And probably before this bush has been cleared off, and everywhere is broad daylight, nobody will actually, and there's enough light to actually shine around, nobody will actually defecate in an open place. You actually want to cover your own body and your pride as well. That's what I wanted to say about it. It's actually, them defecating on there is actually a bad habit. You shouldn't be condoned, because actually, they're actually littering around the environment around, which is not good for people. But I don't actually think them arresting them will actually sort it out. How many people don't arrest? What if it's at the midnight? Can you get them at the midnight? Most police, they don't work nothing less than 8, 10 p.m. at night. So they can actually see them. If someone comes in and defecate around the level 12 in the midnight, you can actually get them. It's not they'll get them. So I just think probably enough public toilets in available places actually do the best.
can say that if there are public toilets that are located for each market or each roadside, by the roadside, if there are public toilets, like in Lagos now, there's something like a public toilet that look like a kiosk in Lagos, where people just go there and do their business, and it's free of charge. It's not that they are giving them, they are asking them to pay a particular money. But here in Abuja, when I was traveling, my first time of traveling to Abuja, at the park, I used a public toilet. To urinate is actually free, but to shit, to shit is actually 15 naira. And it's so alarming because it's not everybody that can even afford the 15 naira. So they see options to just use the bushes to shit. So if there are opportunities and the government can actually build public toilets, even if it's not, if it's those ones that they can detach the toilets from the kiosk and dispose it somewhere else. If there are those kind of toilets in strategic places in Abuja or in Nigeria, like the thing is that the open defecation will actually reduce.